There we go. So, welcome everyone to the Success Meetup for today. In March, our theme was that we're going to get you ready for the spring selling season. And so, we talked about some different topics about bringing value to people, which we did the first, I guess we did it last week. I wasn't here. Kelly stepped in for me, and she's actually going to be stepping in for me next week as well. Last week, I had to travel for work. Next week, I'm going to sunny Arizona. So if any of you are from Arizona and are going to live in the Phoenix area, drop me in the chat and let me know what we should be taking the kids to go do while we're there. Um, but we went over different topics, like I said, so far. And then next week, we're going to be talking about kind of getting social with your sphere online and bringing value online. So we're going to talk about that next week. And actually, it's going to be Kelly that's going to do that again. She did a fantastic job. Last week, talking about meeting your leads where they are. And the first week of this month, we talked about just kind of getting your database organized. So it's all on YouTube. If you missed any of those past ones, you can go back and watch them. And I guess just for fun, I will put the links in the chat for you guys so that you have them. And speaking of the chat, if you guys have a question you need me to answer, please put it in the Q&A. The chat kind of gets a little messy and I can't look back and see everybody's comments sometimes, but I can definitely answer your questions if you put them in in the Q&A. So here is last week's session. And here is the first week's session. And while I have you guys here, here is the registration link if you haven't registered for next week. Next week, we're going to kind of be talking a little bit about some of the changes that have just happened with the NAR settlement, and really some educational things you can do about being a valuable asset to people. So we're going to kind of dip our toe in that a little bit next week too. So you might want to go ahead and register for that. Okay. So today we're going to talk about working up your sellers. And in light of what happened with the NAR settlement, I think everyone can agree that the competition to get a listing is going to be even more competitive going forward. And everybody's going to be wanting to be the listing agent if they can. So really what we want to do is think about waking up our sellers for spring selling. So definitely want to get some ideas from you guys. If you have any, throw them in the chat. We're just kind of going to walk through where to find your sellers, how to talk to them, how to wake them up, and we're going to get into kvCORE and kind of show you some of the things you can do inside of kvCORE to help you with all of those endeavors. So I'm going to, everybody can see my screen, I'm assuming. Can't let me know. Okay, so the first thing is like, we're gonna talk about is where are your sellers? And I think everybody's like, oh, seller leads. And yeah, we're gonna talk at the end about getting new seller leads, but really your sellers are your sphere. They're your past clients. They're the referrals from your sphere and your past clients. You have a bunch of buyers in your database that you maybe haven't talked to, but guess what? They might be looking to buy because they need to sell first. And then, like I said, at the end, we're going to talk about ways to lead generate for new seller leads as well. But really, if you think about it, the best lead you can get comes from people that you know. And there's all sorts of things we can do inside of kvCORE that can help you wake those people up, that can start getting referrals coming in for you from those people. So we're going to go over that first. So we're going to talk about past client sphere and referrals from those people. And so there's a couple things we can do. We're going to kind of touch on all of these. One is your valuation settings in kvCORE. And that is basically getting them set up so that they know what their home is worth and they know that you are a resource for that for them and could be a resource for that for other people in their life. We're going to talk about the seller prospect campaign that you guys have in your campaign library. And these were released back in October, and a lot of people don't know about them. And so I want to make sure everybody understands how they work. and what you can do to wake up any seller leads that you might have in your database that you've never able bleh, never able to connect with. Okay. We're going to talk about a CMA a day strategy. I guarantee you that if you guys did a CMA a day for your past clients, for your sphere, really showed your value there, you would start to get some listings and referrals for listings. And the last thing we're talking about is doing kind of an equity review. If you have Core Home, which I know not everyone does because it's a thing that your brokers can buy for you, but if you do, your agents, or excuse me, your leads can follow the equity of their home online as well. So that's another thing to kind of start talking to your leads about, whether you have Core Home or not. All of your past clients, you know what they paid, you know what they put down, you know what the terms of their thing were, you know probably roughly how much equity they have in their home, and to review that with them and just show that you're a resource there might say, oh, look at all this equity I have. Maybe it's time for me to cash in, right? So we're going to kind of go through all of these things right now. I'm going to bring over my kvCORE. And the first two things we're going to talk about are your valuation settings and those campaigns. So I'm going to go into my CRM, and I'm going to search for my seller leads. And I highly recommend you guys going in here and doing this. Hopefully, if you came to the first session, you have categorized all your people correctly and you know who are seller leads in your system. But really what you want to think about doing is you want to definitely think about making sure they are set up on the correct automations. So this person actually doesn't have an address. These are all kind of fake leads because this is my account. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Let's find people. This is another good thing to do. So if you have people in your sphere that you don't know their address, I would highly recommend getting it and putting it in. But you can run a filter for everyone who has an address. So I want to know everyone who has an address in my system. So I have 11 people in my system that have an address. How many of these people have an address but don't have a listing valuation set up for that address? This is a very good filter to run, and you want to get this down to 0. Seriously, everybody who has an address in your system should have a valuation set up. Oh, and mine is 0. Look at that. So let's take this off. And let's just go into somebody's account. So if you do not have a valuation set up for these folks right here, so actually they have the wrong valuation set up. This is a fake lead. You want to make sure, so you're going to take this and set them up with a listing valuation. So you just put their address in and save it. And it's going to let them know what their home is worth on a monthly basis. And that's something you should be sending everybody in your database. I got a question about, they hardly have any addresses. How do you get them to send their addresses? That's a really great point, and probably maybe something we should talk about even before we go to this step. And a couple of things to do with that would be to offer to make them a CMA. So if you wanted to do, for instance, a mass email, and we're going to talk about how to run mass emails and some of the things that we can send out to people for our buyers. And this is a great, this will be a great thing to do when we talk about waking up your buyers and seeing if they're actually sellers. Same thing if you know that they're possibly a seller, you know they own their home, but you don't have an address for them, is letting them know, hey, I could send you a walkthrough of all the comps in your area, what your home could sell for now, so you can kind of compare that to, you know, what you owe on your home, and you have a good idea of how much equity you have in your home. To do that, I just need your home address. If you want to shoot it over to me, I'll get that out to you right away. So that's one thing to offer them to get their address. Another thing to offer to get their address is if you're offering something you're going to mail them. So maybe you could do like if these are people that you know in your life, maybe be like, hey, everyone that sends me their address, I'm going to mail them a $5 Starbucks card. I mean, it's a little bit of money on your end. Like I wouldn't send it to like, 100 people, maybe 50 people, whatever, even 100 people, that's like what, $500, but are you going to get 500? I don't know. I mean, 100 of them to get you back. I don't know. But things like that you could invest in. So you're going to give them something of value, like a gift card. Maybe you're going to send them, you could say you're going to send them their comparative market analysis, things like that. But you just want to make sure that you're giving them something in return for giving you their address. If they're friends of yours, you could just, a good one for friends is, hey, I want to send you a holiday card this year. I'm getting my holiday card list together early. Can you send me your address? Because I really want to make sure when, the holidays come around, I get you on my holiday card list. And then of course, send them a holiday card. Okay. Another question I have is, I'm based in Canada, and does the evaluation function work for us? Probably not. Canada has some weird rules about valuations and what we can pull. If it does not work for you, I highly recommend instead doing a market report. Okay. So this guy unsubscribed, which is weird because he's fake, but basically let's resubscribe him. I can do this, but basically what we're going to do is you could send him a market report instead. So the only difference between a listing valuation and a market report is that the listing valuation has what their home is worth at the top. It's just an estimate, computer estimate, not a CMA type situation. And then it gives an actual market report for the area that their home is in. If you can't set them up with a listing valuation because you're in Canada, what you can do is set them up with a market report, and that will be the same. And I think, I'm not 100%, but I'm like 90% sure, if I'm thinking about it, that if you do set them up with a listing valuation, what it does send them is just the market report, because it can't do that. But one other thing you can do, and I really love this, and I know I talked about this on one of my last ones, is that you can set them up with a search alert. So if you, let's delete this. Yes. So if you take their address and you draw it on the map, and you just keep hitting the plus sign, you'll get down to street level. So they live right here. So it looks like this is probably their neighborhood, and you know your area best. But if I just make them a listing alert just for their neighborhood, because they don't care what's going on outside of their neighborhood, and send it ASAP, because it's only going to happen every once in a while. And maybe I know they have a single family home, so I make sure to say single family. If I make that alert for them, then every single time someone in their neighborhood lists a home, they're going to get an alert from you. Now, we do what's called a dynamic subject line, which means every time we send a listing alert, we change the subject line so it doesn't get caught up in spam filters. You're sending the same subject line all the time. Because this doesn't happen that often, what I like to do is I like to do a unique subject line. So if you're sending somebody something weekly or every day, stick with dynamic. But if it only happens a couple times a year and you know this person, this is a great one to do. So I say, Tom, one of your neighbors just listed their home. If your contact gets that in their email, they're going to open it because they want to know who in their neighborhood listed their home, and they want to see the inside and the pictures, and they might want to know when the open house is. And it just reinforces that you are the real estate agent in their life. You're the one that's keeping an eye on their neighborhood for them. And it's a great way to stay in front of them. So I would set that alert for them as well. So between those two automations, so it looks like there is one home for sale in that area. Between those two automations, you're going to be touching them at least once a month, and then maybe one more time, and staying in front of them. What you can do, this is a little manual going in and drawing around the area, but I'm going to actually, I don't know if this fake lead is actually a real thing that I messed up. So I'm just going to turn off I'm going to unsubscribe him again. But I want to show you guys in your settings. So in your marketing, you have a market report and valuation settings spot. And if you go there, what's mad at me? If you go there right here and toggle this on, basically whenever a new address is added, it's going to set up the listing valuation for you. So you don't have to go in and do it yourself. So that's a good automation to turn on. Okay. All right. How about registering them in a giveaway during the holidays? Exactly, same thing. You can do that. I have a guy who gives away like holiday pies or whatever, and he delivers them to these local people and sign up, I'll deliver you a pie or things like that. That's a great way to go ahead and do that. Or, yeah, some kind of one-time giveaway, like, hey, if you give me your address, I'm giving away $100 to Home Depot or something for some, home improvements or things like that. And it doesn't even have to be around the holidays. It could just be right now, hey, spring renovations or whatever are upon us. I'm doing a giveaway for, this, everyone who I have their home address in my database, I'm going to send it out to, or I'm going to enter automatically. So if you want to get entered, please send me your home address. That's another great way to go. Good idea. Bruce says can also go through the county appraisal district website. I'm assuming you mean for your evaluation. And Joan says, what exactly is the difference again? Joan, I missed your question. Maybe you're asking the difference between a market report and a listing valuation. And if that was the case, then the market report and the listing valuation are exactly the same, except that the listing valuation does have what the home is worth at the top. Then underneath is the market report. The market report just has the market report. Oh, Bruce is saying to get addresses of people you already know. Yeah, that's another good way to go. If you know people and you want to look up that kind of thing, you could do that as well. But yeah, everybody that you know in your life that owns a home, you should have them in here and you should have their address in here. Okay. So there's that. Now, the other filter I'd love for you guys to run, Stella wants to know where's the valuation from? It depends on your area, but it's like county records, Zillow, CoreLogic. There's another one thing called Atomic or something like that. And we will, if we give as many as we can get, like sometimes they'll have two valuations, sometimes they'll have three. They're like, Zillow tells me this, CoreLogic tells me this, or whatever. It's just a computer generated thing. Okay. So Joan says I have everyone's address, but not emails. Ooh. Same thing, if you have somebody's address, maybe you have their phone number. If you have their phone number, I would text them and ask for their email. To like same kind of thing. If you don't have their phone or their email and you only have their address, I'm not sure. Oh, most have phone numbers. Yeah, if you have phone numbers, but you don't have emails, that's a great thing to do is just use your texting options in kvCORE and text them. And again, like, hey, I want to send you important information about what your home is worth. Can you please drop me your email? I want to get you in a giveaway. Please give me your email, whatever it is, but try and get their emails that way. Okay. What if you put an address in that is not in my current MLS? Will they still get a valuation? No, they will not. You need to have it in well, that's not true. You can try it. They might actually, because I know the sell page will do it for anywhere. So you can give it a try. Otherwise, they'll just get a, it's the market report. The market reports do not work. Take that back. Market reports don't work if it's not in your MLS. The valuation settings, I'm not sure that it works either. You'd have to give it a try. I just did a test in one of my rentals and it's saying the valuation would be like 1 million. That's not correct. Um, I mean, they're not always correct. Like I said, it's just a computer generated thing. It's either they're looking at county records, so things might have changed. They're looking at Zillow, they're looking at all that stuff. If you don't like what it says, like if you look at the amount and you're like, that's not right. I don't think that one's quite correct. Now, if they're off all the time, you can talk to support, but if it's just here and there, just has to do with whatever information we can get about the property. So if you don't like that, do the market report instead of the valuation. Okay. Okay. Um, Many of my sphere are neighbors, and I don't know, but have input them by neighborhood. Yeah. So if you have them, if you have them in your neighborhood, definitely, if they're your neighbors, oh, go knock on their door. Maribel says my market report is always off for more than 100K. I think you mean your valuation. If your valuation is off always, like really always off, then check in with the support, check in with your support bubble down here and just give a few examples to them and they can look into it. Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you guys for the filter is if you go into your smart CRM, and I would love for you to filter for all of your seller leads. That are still in new lead status, that are over 30 days old. So let's see. This guy would probably be over 30 days old, these two people right here. What we want to do is, so before, and I'm going to go back to before I kind of show you what to do here. This is the filter we're going to run, but in your smart campaigns, we used to have a default seller campaign that ran for like 3 years. And it was great for the first like 30, 60 days. And then it was just cursory, like a cursory check-in like every 6 months or something. And it really was not um, good for the long term. On top of that, any lead that's over 30 days old really isn't new anymore, right? They're not new, they're over 30 days old. They really should be a prospect if you haven't spoken to them. Okay. Back in I guess it was October, we released all new core campaigns and they're in your core library for you. I'd really love everyone to put it in the chat and let me know if you are or are not using these new core campaigns. And while I'm letting you answer me there, Lorena wants to know for the market report, do we enter the address? You just have to choose an area. So for the market report, there's no address. You're just choosing a city, a state, not state, a city, a county, a zip code, a neighborhood, or whatever. So it looks like most of you have not used the new core campaigns. So I'm going to take this opportunity before we go any further and just explain to you what they do so you can feel real confident. And I did an entire hour on this. Let me find it. Mm. Right here. I'm going to stick this in the chat for you guys. It really talks about getting all of these into your campaigns and how to switch over your leads onto these and get rid of the older ones. Okay. I'll put this right here so you guys can have a look at that. So these closed campaigns, I think, make a lot more sense than our old ones do. Because what happens is when you have a new lead that comes in, whether they're a buyer or a seller, they'll get the default campaign. That's used to be really all we had was a default campaign that ran for like 3 years, but didn't do much after 60 days. These campaigns only run for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, the last step is for them to switch this. It switches automatically for you the status from new back to prospect, because if they haven't talked to you yet, if they did talk to you, they would become active automatically. If they hadn't, then they're going to go to prospect, which then will automatically kick off the prospect campaigns. And these campaigns run for the rest of the year, and they are more robust than the old one that you had. And it still keeps trying to make contact. If you make contact with someone, the system will say, whoa, we've gotten a response. These are not new leads. They are not prospect. They are active. And we'll go to the active campaign. The old active campaign was a task for you to check in with this person every day, every week, once a week for 29 weeks, which nobody is going to do if they say, I'm just browsing, or, I'm not ready yet, or whatever. You might check in with them monthly, you might check in with them quarterly, but you're certainly not going to check in with them every week. Got a question on how did I get to this area? So again, if you go to your marketing tab and go down to smart campaigns, and then go to your kvCORE library, you will see all of the core. So all you have to do to get them into your campaigns is to add them to your library with these buttons. Now, I'm not going to do that because they're already in my library, but that's what you would want to do, and you would want to add them, and you would want to turn them on. Do they have to be open all the time? Can you go over the ones you think need to be open? I'm not sure what you mean by open. Maybe you mean turned on. I would add all of these to your campaigns and then turn them on as you start to transition people from old campaigns to new campaigns. But I definitely think these should all be in there. So new lead comes in, 30 days later, they become prospect. If they talk to you, active. What the active one does is it's not really a campaign. What it is it tells you, hey, this person talked to you, find out what they said, put them on a better campaign, possibly, or set up your next phone call with them or whatever. But definitely you don't need to check in with them once a week for 29 weeks, which is what the old one did. And that really what it did was overwhelming agents because they had like all of these tasks to check in with people that they really didn't need to check in with, right? So those are your basics. We have a new, just really quickly, there's a homeowner campaign, sends a homeownership tip. We have a new open house campaign, and we have a new closed campaign. This campaign is excellent for your closed clients, but it only makes sense if you just close them. So if you don't have all your closed people in your database yet, you can add this to your library, but do not turn it on until you get all your past closed in. Then turn it on, and it will only trigger for the ones that you have going forward, right? Because it says things like, hey, it's been a month. Hey, I'm checking back at, it's been a year since you closed on your home, seeing how things are doing. So if you add it to people that closed 5 years ago, it's not going to make any sense. So don't turn this on until you added all of your closed people to your database. You have them in, they're closed. Then you can turn it on. It will only trigger for people that become closed after that point. The reason I'm telling you guys this is this core prospect seller campaign makes sense whether they're 30 days old or 2 years old. So what I'd like you to do is add this to your library and turn it on. And if you do that, then we go back to our all contacts and we run that same filter. We're going to look for all of our seller leads that are still in new lead status. And what we're going to do with those leads is that if we have the prospect campaign in our library and turned on, then we can take them and we say, these people are more than 30 days old. You might have a list of 100 people in there. You might have a list of 5 or 5,000 or whatever it is. You want to choose everyone that's over 30 days old, that's a new lead, that's still in new lead status and as a seller, and simply go up to more actions and change their status to prospect. And when you do that, it will then kick off that campaign automatically because that is the trigger for that campaign. So you have to have that campaign in your library, have to have it turned on first, then go back and run this filter. I want to know all my seller leads that are over 30 days old. They're probably not getting anything or much of anything. And what it will do is it will shut down the old campaigns and it will put the new campaigns on there for you. Does anybody have any questions about how to do that? Okay. It's a great way to wake up. It just starts kind of asking them some questions, trying to get them talking to you again, right? You can really wake them up by getting all those people on campaigns again. Okay, so those are the two things that we wanted to do with automations. Now we're going to talk about CMA a day. So I want you to think about all the people in your database that you could run a CMA for. And for me, I would probably start with my oldest past clients, right? Because if you just sold a house to someone last year, I don't know, are they going to sell their house? Probably not. But if you sold a house to someone 10 years ago or 5 years ago, they might be ready to think about selling, right? And so it's not wasted to do a CMA for somebody who's not selling. Why? Because first of all, and I know not everyone has this because again, it's a broker level thing, but if you have Core Present, it's a pretty powerful tool. And to be able to make an interactive CMA for somebody and send it to them and say, hey, I made this CMA for you. This is what your home could sell for now. If you want to talk about selling, I'd love to talk to you about it. But hey, even if you're not thinking about selling and you know somebody that is, I can do this very in-depth market analysis for them as well. Let me know what their contact information is, and I will get it over to them for their house, right? So use the CMA to try and get, you want to sell their house, but really you're asking for a referral by showing them what you can do. All right. So if you don't have, I'm going to use Core Present as an example. But if you don't have Core Present, whatever you use to make CMAs with is what we want to be doing. Tamisha wants to know if it asks for a closing date. I'm not sure what you mean by asks for a closing date. Maybe if you're asking that, maybe you're asking that if you want to sort your list by closing date. Oh, the closing campaign does not ask for a closing date. No. Basically, what it does is as soon as you change, so if like I was working with Harper and she became closed, as soon as I turn her closed, it will kick off the campaign. So that's why you do not want to have your old people added. You don't want to turn this on and then add a bunch of old ones because when it hits the system as closed, it's going to kick off the campaign. But if they're in there before that, then you turn the campaign on, it's not going to go backwards. It's only going to do it to people who either hit the system as closed newly or become closed in your system. What is the name of the new campaign that kicks off once it goes to prospect? Is Core Prospect Seller, I believe. I'll go back to that in a sec. Goes Core Library. It is this one right here, Core Prospect Seller. This is another great one too, you guys. This is CoreSphere Homeowner. It sends a homeownership tip once a month. That's a great one to put all of your homeowners on as well. Okay, that's for closing date. I'm just making sure I don't miss any other questions. What is a CMA? Is is a comparative market analysis. So it's basically, and I'm going to go over, what those look like, but basically showing your clients, recently sold comps in their area to, tell them what their home might be worth. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so let's go back here. So in Core Present, if you have it, great. If you don't, whatever CMA builder that you use, you're going to want to make a campaign, or excuse me, make a CMA for your seller. So for winning the listing. Now, just as an aside, we have a bunch of new stuff that we put in here, which is really nice because I know that everybody's been talking about, oh, what about buyer's agents and how are they going to get paid and how do you show your value? We have buyer's tours in here. We have information about why buyers are important, or why having a buyer's agent is important, all sorts of slides, all sorts of information. Also winning the offer. So if you have an offer to make, you can show them why you've chosen the price you've chosen to offer. So these are all great things. But right now we're talking about our sellers. So you can make a presentation for one of your sellers, or one of your past clients, or one of your sphere, or whatever, and you can create it. Now, I'm not going to go into creating it today. If you have Core Present and want to know how to learn how to use this tool, I highly recommend going to, so you go to your dashboard, you go to our live training calendar and pick your time zone. So I'm Pacific. I believe it's on Tuesdays. Is it on Tuesdays or Mondays? Attention. Present. Am I missing it? It's on Tuesdays. That was Thursdays. Yes, I knew it was Tuesdays. Core Present right here. So every Tuesday morning, 8:30 for me, but later for you guys on the West or on the East Coast, is our e-webinar for Core Present. And you can either watch a replay anytime you want, or you can go to the live one and they'll answer questions for you that you have. But if you have this, so if you go to marketing and you have Core Present, that means your brokerage is paying extra for you guys to have this tool. Do not, discount it. It is a very powerful tool and you'll want to learn how to use it. Okay, so in Core Present, I've already made one. And when you make one, the great thing about Core Present is you can send it to them in an interactive web link, right? So here's the web link that you can send to people. And when they get it, they open up the link and this is what they see. And they can walk through, see about you. They can see some of your, and all of this stuff, every slide you see here, you can decide if you want it in, if you want it out. There's a whole library of slides you can put in here that are all pre-done for you. There's all sorts of different looks that they have. There's like a luxury one, I don't know, there's like a bunch of different types of looks you can choose to. So, but it talks about, this being the value of the agent, but basically it says, okay, your house is here. These are the comparable solds. And you can add other stuff to this. You can add like pendings and, ones that are on the market right now, or you can make the circle bigger. You can do all sorts of stuff. But this means that they can click on things. So they can click on things and see what's up, right? Oh, okay, interesting. This is the sale price of this, the sale price of that. This is my house or whatever. Then they can see all of the pictures of the closed listings. They can look through them all and whatnot. So if you have this tool and you send this to people, I guarantee you they're going to look through it because they care about what is around them, right? But it's going to be impressive to them enough for you to say, hey, if you're not thinking of selling right now, totally cool. Just know I can make this for you at any time, whenever you decided you might be thinking about it. But by the way, I can do this for anybody that you know. Do you know anybody that's thinking about selling their home in the next 6 months that I can send this to so they can get a really good idea of what they could be selling their home for in this market? And I guarantee you that you will be getting some referrals in that way. Okay. The other thing you can do here is you can make this, you can send it to them, but on top of that, you could send them a video walking through it yourself, putting your face in front of them and being the expert and saying, hey, I chose this amount for your house because this is a comp, but man, this house, you can see it's got, I don't know, water damage, or it's got this, or it's got a pool and yours doesn't, or whatever. And you can really use your voice to talk them through it. And if you don't have core video to be sending videos in your emails, highly recommend that you do it. I'm going to put in here, I did a whole video on using the screen recorder to record yourself, your face in the like in a corner while recording the screen and walking through. So I'm going to put that in the chat right here. Go. And I have a question. How much does it cost? I'm not sure if you're asking how much Core Present is or how much Core Video is. Core Present, I'm not sure. It's a broker bought thing. If you're talking about Core Video, it's $39 a month. It's basically a BombBomb subscription, and we bring BombBomb inside of kvCORE for you, and you can send texts with video in them, and you can send emails with video in them. And if you want to give it a try, give me just a second. I have a link for you for that too. Let's go. You can use this link. I'm going to put it in the chat. It will give you a free 30-day free trial of Core Video. So you can use all the premium features of Core Video without ever having to pay for it for the first 30 days. So highly recommend. I'll put that link in there as well. So let's say that you want to do that and you decide that you're going to talk them through their CMA. So what you would do is you would go to kvCORE, and now we're going to talk about sending them a big mass email. So, or not a mass email, sending them a one-off email that has information on it about their home. So if we go to marketing and we go to your smart campaigns, I highly recommend, if you're going to be doing this once a day, which you should be, right? You should be doing a CMA a day. Just make yourself do one a day and send it out. Make it easy on yourself and make a template for yourself so that you have that template and you can just drop in the link to the CMA. You can add in the video of you walking through it if you want to. And you can have that available to you anytime you do your CMA. So we're going to go to templates. And we're going to add an email template. And my template name, pro tip, I always say, put your initials in the title of your template, or you might not find it again. kvCORE, luckily, is chock full of templates. However, it has so many in there, and if you don't remember what you named it, you might never find it again. So always put your initials when you're making your own template. And this might be CMA, CMA template. And the subject might be, if you're like, especially if you're going to send a video, use the word video that gets opened. Like, I can't remember what the percentage is more than other emails, but you could say my video walk through of your home value. And I guarantee you they're going to open that and they'll be like, you did a video walkthrough of my home. What? Were you in my home? I don't think so. I'm going to go ahead and open that and see what you said, right? And so if you open the advanced editor, this is where you can put in buttons, you can put in video, you can put in all sorts of things. So maybe you want to put in, you can make a header with your information or your logo or whatever. Maybe I want to do that. Maybe I'm going to do a row. I'm going to I'm going to pull this over. All this does is it divides the row up. And then it's all drag and drop. So I'm going to drag over I want to put my logo in here. Just thinking about it. There's my logo. And I'm just going to leave this blank. I'm going to pull over a divider. So now that's what it's going to look like. And I'm going to put in some text. And I'm going to say, you could say something like, I was looking back at your home purchase. Or if it's a friend, I was in your neighborhood the other day thinking about your home, things like that. Um, and realized you might be curious about how the value of your home might have changed since we since you bought it. Here's a quick video about your home value. Okay. And then you're going to pull over a core video. And if you had used the screen recorder and you already recorded it, it would be in here, or you can, you could record it just now. Right now, we're just making this template, so we'll leave that alone. We'll just leave it a spot for it. And then put on here some buttons. So I'm going to make some rows again. But the first button should be, actually, maybe I'm going to put a button in the middle here. And I'm going to say, link to your personalized CMA, or you want to spell things right. Home value. They might not understand CMA. Home value, right? And this is where we're going to put the link to that presentation that we're going to send them, that we're going to walk through with them, but they might want to play in it later and tell them that in your video. Hey, I put the link in here. Feel free to play around and look through it as much as you like, right? We're going to put that link right here. And then you might put some other links in here. In fact, we might make this a different color to match our logo, right? I have a question. When I send mass email, it goes to spam. Any ideas? I do have an idea for you. Give me a second, because I can't do it from here. And I'm going to, but this one shouldn't be a mass email anyway. This should be a one-off because it's just a CMA for that particular person, but I will get back to you on that. If you know these people, let's grab coffee. Do you have a Calendly link that you can put in here where they can schedule in to grab coffee with you? Maybe you say, check your value anytime. And then you can put a link to your sell page in there where they can check their value anytime. So give them things to do. Maybe you can say, instead of this, you could say, send me a referral. And maybe you have like a Google form that you can put in here that, lists out name, phone number, email, whatever. You could even do a landing page but the problem with the landing pages would just be the person's email, not their first and last name, but that's changing probably in the next month or two. But you'd be sending me a referral, and it could just be a simple Google form that lets them send you a referral with their information and comments about what's going on. And you could put that link in here. Okay, so think about different ways that makes it so easy for them. They don't have to pick up the phone and call you. They don't have to do anything. Nothing like that. They can just, call you, fill out a form or something like that. Oopsies, I didn't mean to do that. You can also do send email. So the send me a referral could be an email that they send. So if they click, it'll pop open and you put your email address in here. You put a subject is, I have a referral for you. I know someone who is selling soon. Here's their info. And then, so what will happen is you put your email address in there. So when they click that button, what it's going to do, it's going to pop open whatever, um, email client they use. It's going to preload. I have a referral for you. Here's their information. All they have to do is put the information on there. So even easier than a form, right? That's another option for you. So then once you have all of that information in there, you might want to then put, I don't know, your social media buttons. Oopsies, let's get a row here. I'm going to put your social media buttons in here. And you have to put them in here. It doesn't pull. So you got to put it in what you want. So let's say you did that and you can change your icons or whatever. Now you have this great template that every time you do a CMA for them, all you have to do is change this link to the CMA and put the video in here of what you of you walking through it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to add that template and save it. Now I'm going to answer the question about the mass email. So I want everyone to go right up here to your, it looks like a little envelope, and I want you to click on it. And if it looks like this is why things are going to spam, because you haven't connected your email yet. So basically, whenever you send out anything from the system, whether it's a listing alert, a market report, a mass email, a one-off email, if you don't connect your mail, we don't have permission to use your email address. So whatever email address you have in your settings, we have to use like a gobbledygook like email, like blah, 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 at kvCORE and spoof it with your actual email that you said you wanted to use in your settings. And the problem with that is it used to work, and now, the email servers have gotten wise and they can detect when things are spoofed. And so a lot of times it goes straight into the spam bin, straight there. So this is the number one thing I see all the time when people say, oh, all my emails go to spam. It's because they have not connected their email. So if you take nothing away from today, go ahead and connect your email so that you can be sending it out through your email, because that's what it means. We're going to use your actual email and not a relay email to send things out from the system. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. We are way behind on my list of things to talk about here. So, an equity review is just another thing you can do. Did I just go back to my kvCORE? If you have core home, and I'll just touch on this real quick because not a lot of people have it yet. It's a pretty new thing. If you're EXP has it. Some other smaller brokerages have it. If you have BT Pro, you have it. Let me go to my contacts. If you have it, you will have an option at the very bottom to send an invitation. And what Core Home is Core Home is a app that they can download on their phone. They can search homes for sale, but they can also put all of their information in there about their house, and they can follow the value of their house and the equity in their house by like putting in what their payment is and what they owe on it and that kind of thing, and it'll show them. And if they do that, then you can refer back to that and you can be like, hey, the value of your house is this, you've got this much equity, maybe you want to start thinking about selling or whatever it is. So that's another good thing. If you don't have it, talk to your broker. It's something the broker has to buy. Okay, I have some chats. Can you use both Google Mail and Outlook? You only want to use what you have. So in your settings, whatever email you have, I have this blank, this from email. If this is the same as this, you don't need to put this in. So if you don't have this, it's this email. If you have an email, that's that email. but whatever email that is the one that you want to connect. So if it's a Gmail, connect your Gmail. If you have your Gmail going into Outlook, just connect your Gmail and it'll work just fine. It's really Outlook is for if you don't have a Gmail account. Okay. Question. If we add our email and have it synced, will it import all emails received outside of kvCORE? It will not import. So there's different settings on here. You can have it, if you're syncing just your email, what it will do is if you open this up, you'll see like all the emails that you have, even outside of kvCORE, it'll just be in that little drop down. But if you have it synced and you have an email that matches a person in kvCORE and you like email them in Gmail outside of kvCORE, then that will show up in their timeline. So anything you send them to or from out of your email will show up in the timeline in their contact record. So it's a really nice way to keep all of the emails that you've ever sent them in your contact record for kvCORE without having to go back into your email and search them up, right? Okay. So that equity report is another thing you can try and that you could be doing. Okay, so we've only got like 4 minutes here. So we want to talk about buyers in your database. So these are just some ideas. Mass texting them, mass emailing them, offering them something of value, a CMA, a resource guide. Hey, I know I see you've been searching properties on my website. Is that because you're thinking of buying? Do you have a house to sell beforehand? If so, I can be a great resource for you. Getting them set up with market reports and updates and things like that, because I bet half the buyers, maybe not half, but a good chunk of your buyers in your database might have a house to sell first. So sending out a mass email to all your buyers and sending out a mass text to all your buyers, especially ones that you're not sure if they have a house to sell or not, and offering them something of value to, maybe it's that giveaway you're doing. Hey, I'm doing a giveaway for all the, everyone's addresses I have, I'm going to enter them in, try and get addresses, try and find out if they have a house to sell. And then if they do, get them that CMA, get them that report, right? And then really fast, I want to talk about new seller leads. If you have sold data, now not everyone has sold data, I know, and they don't in Canada, and not everybody's MLS allows it, but you can go to your squeeze pages. No, lead engine, and go to your squeeze pages. And we have what's called a sold multi-property squeeze. So if you want, you could put it out there. New York. I think I'm connected to the New York MLS here. So New York City. And maybe I'm going to do, here's all the, New York, they have what condos. Maybe you're in a condo market or whatever. Like, here's all of the recently sold condos in New York or in this neighborhood or whatever it is, and start putting that out onto social media. So if I make this link and I put it out on social media, oopsies, Facebook, am I at here? It's going to give them a list of all the recently solds for their condos, or it could be single family homes, or it could be a neighborhood. I mean, whatever you want to do to make a squeeze page that makes sense. And it should pre-populate a picture. It'll get there eventually. And then once it pre-populates that picture, you can take out this and can say something like, are you thinking about selling your condo? See what condos are selling for in New York right now, or whatever it is. And when you do that, and they sign up because they want to see it, they get there, they look at the condos. Where it will take them is here. Not sure why my Facebook's mad at me and not pre-populating the picture, but it'll take them here. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to see what it's sold for. I want to know when, what happened. Once they start clicking around, it's going to ask them to sign up. And you're going to get that lead into your system, right? How far back does the sold properties go? I don't know the answer to that. It might, I think it's only a couple of months. We got December. Oh, we got September in here. Actually, we got July. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's, a year. I'm not 100%. And I would actually venture to guess that it actually depends on the MLS, probably. But that's a great squeeze page to put out into the world to get seller leads. Your other great thing is to go to your sell page. And this is your valuation page. Just sticking that out in the world. Hey, are you curious what your home is worth? Put your address in here. Those are two great ways to get free leads into your system. And then also offering, resources. If you watched last week's, and I know I put it in the chat last week, we showed how to offer a buyer's guide. But same thing, if you offer a seller's guide where you have a landing page where they sign up to get it. And if you want to learn how to do that, watch last week's because we went in depth. Kelly went in depth on how to make the landing page, how to put the doc in the landing page so they could download it and you get their information right into kvCORE. So it's the exact same thing, only you're doing it for a seller instead of a buyer. Offering a CMA to people, offering market reports and updates. That's the other squeeze page you guys have in here, right? So um, engine squeeze page. You can also do a market report squeeze. So are you thinking of selling your home? You wonder how the market is in New York. You just put New York in here. Or we're going to say, how about Newport Coast? We'll do that instead. No, we won't. We'll do New York. And you create that link. And then it will send them to a market report for the area, but they've got to sign up first. So they're going to say, hey, you want to sign up? Okay. Continue. And then it will load a market report for New York for them. And when that happens, you get their information, but you know that they signed up for a market report for New York. And it just gives, it'll do that for them. So it's a great squeeze page to do as well. So those are all things you can put out in the world to try and get some leads. And and postcards. I didn't go into that at all, but like if you did like a postcard with you could do a squeeze page to a recently sold listings in your area. They could do that with a QR code or what's their home worth, that kind of stuff. Or you could sign up for Nosy Neighbor, which is in our marketplace. Okay, I'm over time. Sorry, guys. Let me see. Got a couple of questions. How do we get sold multi-property? If you don't see sold in there, it has to either do with your MLS not allowing it or your settings aren't correct and it's not something you can change. If you don't see sold listings, talk to the chat bubble down here and they will say either it's not enabled and I can enable it for you. They'll say your MLS doesn't offer it. In some instances, your MLS does offer it, but your broker doesn't pay for us to access it. There's all sorts of reasons why that might be the case, but talk to the blue bubble and they will help you with that. Are any of these trainings on demand? So if you go to our YouTube channel, pretty much all of this stuff is there. If whatever you want to learn about, and I'll stick this link in the chat. But you can come here and search up anything you want, squeeze page. Oopsies, not squeeze. Hello, Heather. And you can see all of the different stuff we have for squeeze. Some of this stuff is old. If it's more than 2 years old, I probably wouldn't do it. But it has this light bulb on it. It's usually one that we've done pretty recently. And you can look at all of that kind of stuff, anything you want there. Is Nosy Neighbor available in Canada? I don't think so. I don't know. If you go to your marketplace, if it's not, it just won't be there. If you go to marketplace and go to get leads, these are all your lead gen options. Nosy Neighbor is here. I think it's just the US though, but you can click on that, it will tell you if it is. The internet hates Canada. Canada just has all these rules, basically, that we have to try and get around. So it's not the internet, it's your laws up there. But anyway, I hope this was helpful for everybody. I'm going to put in the link for next week. I think I already did that, but I'm going to do it one more time. So next week, we're going to talk about engaging your sphere online. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff we didn't really get to today with these squeeze pages and things you can offer that are valuable. I was watching a webinar, well, not a webinar, a YouTube video from some other real estate folks, and something stuck with me. They said, you should keep working until you don't have to introduce yourself anymore. So if you think about online, people should know who you are. And we're going to talk about all the ways that you can make sure you can reinforce that they know who you are, that you're the real estate agent in their life. And we're going to touch on some of the things you can do to educate them about what's happening with the market right now and why having a buyer's agent is still important and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I love that saying too. So basically, go ahead and register for next week. I won't be here. I'm actually going to be on vacation, but Kelly, the head of our training department, she's awesome, is going to be filling in for me. Chuck wants to know if I ever do training for teams, just a 1 hour primer. In the marketplace. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Hang on. In the marketplace, there is a help session, which is 30 minutes. And there is a coaching session, which is an hour. And these are both run by me. So if you need one-on-one help, you can either do 30 minutes or an hour. And if you have a team, it's fine. If you're all in one place, they can all get on together. They can all get the Zoom link, and I can do it with more than just one person. And so, yeah, you could go there and sign up with me if you like. Okay, great. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna hop off here, and hopefully you'll sign up for next week. And then the following month, we haven't got together yet exactly what our theme is going to be, but watch our Facebook page for that. I'll definitely be announcing it. And if you've come to any of these previous ones, you will get an email with a link to sign up for next month. And also, if you came today or if you registered for today, I will send out this recording as well, hopefully by the end of the day, but if not, tomorrow morning at the very latest. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.